Texas is quietly becoming America's next economic heavyweight. Dominion is still chasing Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell through the courts, and Maine Democrats just scrambled to replace their Senate candidate overnight. That's just the start. Tonight we're also breaking down a stalled Trump election bill stuck on one senator's absence, a historic nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia splitting Washington down the middle, and new intelligence suggesting Russia's military is falling apart on the equipment front. 6 stories, all about where the money and the power are really moving today. Stay to the end, because the last story might be the most alarming one on this list. Texas is pulling ahead in the race to become America's next economic heavyweight. According to Fox News, new IRS migration data show higher-income households pouring into the state, fueling growth across Dallas, Fort Worth, Houston, Austin, and San Antonio. These aren't just population numbers, they're income numbers, meaning the people moving in are bringing real earning power and tax revenue with them. Gabriella von Zur-Mullen, Chief Policy Officer at the Texas Association of Business, says the draw is simple: low costs and strong supply chains that keep attracting billionaires, CEOs, and manufacturers who used to call other states home. For workers, that means more employers competing for talent and more jobs concentrated in 4 booming metro hubs. For other states, it's a warning sign. Every high-income household that leaves for Texas is tax revenue that leaves with them. For Texas, it means more infrastructure strain, but also more political and economic weight heading into the next decade. Expect this migration trend to keep shaping site selection decisions for major companies deciding where to build next, and expect other governors to start copying the playbook. Reported by Fox News, Dominion Voting Systems is not finished in court. According to CNN, the company still has pending lawsuits against prominent election deniers, including Rudy Giuliani and Sidney Powell, tied to false claims made about its voting machines after the 2020 election. These cases remain open, meaning no court has yet resolved the claims or set damages, but the financial exposure for the defendants is real and ongoing. Defamation suits like these require proving false statements were made knowingly or recklessly. A high bar, but one that keeps the pressure on defendants who built public profiles around disputing the 2020 results. For Giuliani and Powell, that means more legal bills stacking up while the underlying question of liability stays unanswered. For the wider political world, it's a reminder that spreading false claims about elections doesn't just carry a political cost. It can carry a direct financial one, decided by juries rather than voters. Every hearing, every filing, keeps these names in headlines years after the election they disputed. Expect these cases to keep grinding forward, with no immediate resolution in sight for either defendant. Reported by CNN, President Trump's signature election bill is stuck, and it's not because of Democrats. According to Fox News, the Save America Act has stalled in the Senate because a key Republican, the Rules Committee chair, has been absent for more than a month with no clear timetable to return. That absence is complicating the path forward on reconciliation. The process Republicans need to move several of Trump's legislative priorities. Trump himself went to Capitol Hill to meet with GOP senators directly, pushing for voter ID requirements and other election integrity reforms he wants included in the bill. The problem isn't opposition. Republicans control the votes they need on paper. It's logistics. Without that one member present, procedural hurdles in the Rules Committee are harder to clear, and the clock is ticking toward the midterms. For voters, this means a marquee campaign promise on election rules is sitting in limbo, not because it lost support, but because of one senator's schedule. For Republican leadership, it's a reminder that even a unified majority can be paralyzed by a single absence. Watch for whether GOP leaders root around the holdup or wait it out. Reported by Fox News, the United States and Saudi Arabia have signed a historic civilian nuclear deal, and Washington is already split over what it means. According to Fox News, the agreement means American companies will build nuclear reactors inside Saudi Arabia, tying the two countries together on energy for decades. Republicans in Congress are framing it as a win for regional stability, stressing the importance of keeping Saudi Arabia locked into a strategic partnership with the United States rather than looking elsewhere for nuclear help. Democrats are warning about the risks, arguing that any move toward uranium enrichment in the deal could push other countries in the region to pursue their own nuclear weapons programs, kicking off a dangerous arms race. For American companies, this is a major contract opportunity. Years of construction and technology exports tied to one of the biggest energy deals in the region. For everyday Americans, the bigger question is security, whether energy cooperation with Saudi Arabia strengthens American influence in the Middle East or opens the door to new nuclear risks nobody voted on. Expect this fight to continue in congressional hearings as more details of the agreement become public. Reported by Fox News. Maine Democrats just scrambled to fix a Senate campaign disaster. According to Fox News, the party quickly crowned Troy Jackson as its new Senate nominee after primary winner Graham Plattner withdrew following rape accusations. That withdrawal happened fast, and Saturday's coronation of Jackson was just as quick, leaving Democrats little time to build a campaign infrastructure around a brand new candidate. Jackson now goes head-to-head with Republican Senator Susan Collins in what was already shaping up as one of the marquee Senate races of the cycle. For Democrats, the scramble raises real questions about vetting, how a candidate facing serious accusations won the primary in the first place, and whether the party can recover the momentum it lost in the process. For Collins, it means facing an opponent who hasn't been tested in a general election fight, but also one who inherits whatever scrutiny still follows the party after Plattner's collapse. For Maine voters, it means a Senate race that's already been upended once before a single general election vote is cast. Watch for how quickly Jackson can raise money and organize a statewide operation against an incumbent with deep name recognition. Reported by Fox News. Russia's war machine is showing serious cracks. According to CNN, Western officials say Russia is going backwards on equipment, now deploying tanks from the World War II era as it struggles to replace losses on the battlefield. That's a striking admission from officials tracking the war. It suggests Russia's modern armored vehicle stockpiles are being depleted faster than factories and sanctions-hit supply chains can replace them. For a military that entered this war presenting itself as a modern global power, pulling museum-era hardware back into service is a sign of real strain, not strength. For global markets and defense budgets, this matters because it shapes how long the war can grind on, and how much pressure sanctions are actually putting on Russia's industrial base. For NATO and Western governments deciding how much aid to keep sending, it's evidence that attrition is working, even if slowly. For ordinary people watching energy and defense stocks move on war news, equipment shortages like this are a signal of how the balance of the conflict may be shifting. Expect Western officials to keep watching for more of these signs as the war continues. Reported by CNN. Tomorrow we're tracking whether Congress can break the Save America Act logjam, and whether Dominion's lawsuits finally move toward trial. Which story worries you more tonight? Texas pulling jobs and money out of other states, or Russia running out of modern equipment? Drop your answer below, hit like, and subscribe to the Capital Oversight so you never miss where the money and the power are moving next.